Buddy, thank you for joining today. We're going to be talking about energetic mechanics. So it's going to be me solo today, and thank you all for joining on YouTube and TikTok if you're watching live. We're going to be talking about how to work with your spiritual and energetic team. Behind me are paintings that I've done over the years of my energetic team working with me alongside with Isabel, who channels them in directly to help people connect to their own guides. But how do we make it actually practical is what I want to be addressing today. How do we bring that into the physical life? If you've been someone who's trying to connect for years and maybe you've seen a bunch of signs, synchronicities, dreams, things are all moving in the right direction, but all of a sudden it shuts off. What are the mechanics behind that? And how can we actually get some stability and understand directionality about how to work with our team so this actually sticks and can work with us moving forward? So if you have any questions as I'm going through this, feel free to ask for those joining live. But our topic for today is how do we directly work with our team efficiently? How do we work with our team in a way that moves our physical life forward? Over all the years my sister and I have been working with our teams, she brings in information and we immediately apply it. That's why we believe what we believe. That's why we set up this system over the years, not from reading a lot of books, not from taking courses on it, but when we directly apply the information, does it work? And that's what we run with. And so with that, how do we work with our team efficiently and effectively? I want to start with why we're different from mediums or people who do psychic work. Both very valuable, but not what's going on here. So when we do mediumship, we're looking to connect with loved ones to feel that support from the other side and to understand that they're still here. Extremely valuable, and we absolutely need that. Psychic work is looking into the future based on our current projected energy. That's extremely important, and that's going to be the topic around today. When you go to a psychic, they're looking at your energy right now in this current moment and seeing the general area where it's projected to go. Here's the thing to that. What is the best way to predict your future? And I'm going to say this a couple of times because this is super important. What is the best way to predict your future? What is the best way to predict your future? To create it. To make it. To design it. To decide on a path and continuously move towards it. That is the best way to predict your future. When we go to someone else to tell us what that future is, it's as if we have no control over that. With that, what we work with is what we call an energetic team. Spirit guides is another name for them. Spirit guides is also very valid, but we don't use the term spirit guides as much as we use energetic team because it doesn't really describe what's going on. When we use the term energetic team, we say that because there are energies around us that can support us, not just in informational downloads, but in feeling a new way, but in embodying what we want, but in actually taking action and remembering who we are from within. That is very different from how most explain spirit guides as energies that can give us more and more and more information. That's energetic, supporting us in more ways than just information. Team. What does team imply? There's more than one. Not only is there more than one, but they have different roles. This is extremely important as well. So when working with your energetic team, hi Manvi, thank you for joining us. There are many different roles that they play. Now I want to go through the ones that we've identified through the 8 years that we've been working with guides that have completely shifted our lives forward and that have helped others that we've worked with as well actually find alignment with their lives and actually create things in their lives that they're wanting to while feeling excited about it. From feeling stuck in loops to creating movement and feeling supported and excited about that. How does an energetic team help? Okay, so here are different roles that the energetic team can play. An aspect, and we've labeled all these within energetic mechanics. There's probably other names out there, but these are the ones we found most effective. An aspect is an aspect of your higher self. What is the higher self? A very large entity encompassing all that you are. So it includes you now in the present moment, includes past lives, includes future lives, includes lives in all kinds of different directions. It is all encompassing of who you are. All of that information, to ask all of that information questions, is near impossible to what we've found, because they don't function in the form of one single pinpointed version that we can talk to. And that's why we came up with an aspect. When you talk to an aspect of yourself, that's a version that you can communicate back and forth with. When we're talking about the totality of us, that's beyond words. And that's why we created that system there. The totality of us is beyond words, is beyond something that we can conversate with. And so when we create an aspect, it is a version, a smaller version of that we can actually talk to. The aspect put in place all of our guides. So in other words, we put in place all of our guides before we came into this life. We worked with them, we worked with Source to say, okay, these are the different types of guides, personality types, and energies that I would need to support me in this dense plane that we call Earth. It's very difficult here. There's a lot of noise. It's hard to decipher through what's truly for us and what isn't. And so therefore, we came up with different personality types and guides, energetic teams, to help remind us of who we are. Remind us that we can create. Show us how it is to move through the noise, decide on what we want, and move towards a future that we're actually looking for. What are some of those roles? An upholder is one of them. Commonly known as a protector energy, protector spirit guide. Why do we call them an upholder? Because they help to uphold your truth. Protect implies we constantly have to be pushing away, swatting away, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this. This is what I want to remove from my space. While there's value in that, if we never decide what we want to uphold, then we're fighting a losing battle. So when you decide what you're upholding, your standards, what do you want to embody, how you want to move throughout the day, it gives your upholders, your protectors, the fuel to actually do their job. It gives them the fuel to use your free will with you and start creating the life that we're wanting to create in this moment. What kind of tattoo? It's a heart tattoo. It fits the whole theme going on here. I got it when we started Visions for the Heart. With that, another energy we have is called a light bringer. Why do we have a light bringer, and why are there so many guides? Because they're reminding us of who we are. Through all this density, who we are at our core. We're someone who upholds our truth. That's what we went through right now. We're someone a light bringer, who can remember our childlike excitement. Who can bring back that version of us, even if we had a rough childhood. There was moments there. There was times there where we were in our childlike creativity and wonder. That's what a light bringer brings forward, an energy in our space that reminds us of who we are when we were young. A nature energy brings forward balance, a calmness, a presence that we may have lost along the way of this journey. They oftentimes show themselves as a monk. It's a great symbol to bring us back to a state of presence and awareness, because we know kind of what a monk symbolizes in a way. Stillness, awareness, presence. I mean, more than that, but you get the idea here. They oftentimes present themselves as that. Then a manager is the last one I want to go through, and then we're going to keep going through this train of how do we actually manifest and create with these guides. That's where we're leading, Right now, I'm just going through the general synopsis of who we have around us so we get an idea. So a manager is the next one. Some people call it a primary guide, okay? We relabel this as manager for a reason because it describes their role. When you have a manager or a primary guide, a single guide that you can go to, maybe it's the one you felt since you were young. Maybe in your dreams when you were little, you used to have this guide that always seemed to follow you around. Could be your imaginary friend that you've had since you were young that people would call you crazy for, but you knew something was truly going on. They seem to always be around. This is your guide that can organize your space. They know all these different pieces that I'm describing, and they can help to be that streamline and that filter. So you can go to them. What does that mean? You can go to them for everything. They can put into place all the other members of your team. So this is the most important role. They can put in place the guide that brings in childlike excitement. They can put in place the upholder or protector that helps you become you. They can put in place or bring in or introduce you to that aspect of your higher self. The manager is the point person. The filter for what's not relevant, the point person to help you move forward. Okay, we got that, right? That was a lot of information, but the idea here, the whole concept of this, you have many different guides that play different roles to help remind you of what's already within. We were asked the other day, are we doing this to create a new religion where we're worshiping guides or have to follow guides? Absolutely not. It is, I don't know if I want to say it's the opposite. I don't know if that's the right language. The language here, though, is what they are here to do and what they'll describe over and over and over from the hundreds of conversations we've had with them. They are here to remind you of you. They're here to remind you of the strength that you have within, the childlike excitement you have within, the stillness that's already within. They're an external energy you brought in before this life to support you in reminding you of who you are through all this noise that we're going through on earth. It's a beautiful thing. So do you have to work with guides? No, absolutely not. There are other ways to find your truth and what's within. This is what we've found most effective, though. Because wouldn't we want a whole support system working with us as we're working to find our truth? You can imagine how fast that would accelerate things when you feel supported, when you feel loved, when you can embody something different because they're helping you do that in the moment. It has a big effect. Good morning, Ida. Thanks for joining. With that, the best way to tell your future, future telling, psychic work, what do we do with all this? The best way to tell your future is to create it. And I will scream that from the rooftops if I have to. Because I remember how long I was looking for, what am I meant to do? What is my purpose? Where am I projected to go? Looking for psychics to tell me what it is. The best way to tell your future is to decide on what it will be. Train your team. This is where we are going. This is what I want to create. And if you have no idea what that is, many don't. I didn't. Define what you don't want. Start there. I do not want to live in this space anymore. I don't like these types of interactions. Get really specific. How I've interacted with these types of people over the years is not what I'm looking for when you fully define out what you don't want. If you're someone who struggles with figuring out where you're going, fully go deep into that. Define what you do not want to its fullest extent. Then what's the opposite of that? That's our starting point. If you're someone who, when people keep saying follow your excitement, you're like, I don't even know what that means. Define what you don't want, because I know you know that. Define what you don't want to its fullest extent. What is the exact opposite of that once you get there? And if you don't know, you're like, I still can't figure out what the opposite of it is, you haven't gone far enough. Really go into it. If you're like, I don't know what I want to create, you've lived through quite a lot. Go through some of those experiences. What don't I want? And when you get to the end of that, you'll be able to start to define, okay, I can feel it. I know this energy that I no longer want anymore. So let me sit down and really create. Ask my team to come forward. Help me feel in this moment so I can at least write it out and get a plan of what the opposite of this looks like. Your own personal vision of hell, your own personal vision of heaven. What does this look like in the life? Right? What is the best way to tell your future? Create it. Define it. Get your team on board to understand this is where we're going. It's a different energy than the norm in the spiritual space. We're aware of that. We're intentionally bringing this forward today for those that resonate with it. Isabel's not on normally. I mean, she is on normally, but today she's off. She'll be back soon, channeling in guides and bringing them in to spread these messages as well. What I'm bringing forward is the culmination of what we've learned from our teams from about 8 years of working with them and working with other teams. And it's all about creation. The best way, and I'm going to keep repeating this throughout because it's so important, the best way to tell your future is to create it. Okay, so how do we get our teams on board with this? This is the fun part. This is the fun part for people sticking around because I'm really excited to explain through this because I know this is not being talked about. I know for a fact this is not being talked about. I've read so many books on guides when we were first starting before we went off on our own track of working with our teams. Today, what I want to bring forward is where you direct your attention, absolutely. Where you direct your attention is where your guides will go. People in the space are not saying this. Think about it. If you have a really, really close friend, that's like, I want the best for you. I want to support you in this. Let's help you move forward. Whatever I got to do. And you're convinced this is the way, they will follow you through that. I know a lot of people in the spiritual space feel very alone. I did as well. But think about a friend that's like, I got your back through and through. No matter what is going on, we're going through this. That's your guide. And so here's the pitfall of that oftentimes people fall into because we did as well. And we see it so commonly. If we take those close friends around us that are like, I got your back no matter what, we're ready to go, we're here to move with you, and we say, let's dive into the past and fix all of it. They're here no matter what. They're ready to go. They're looking to follow your intention. Think about this. And you go, we're going to go through every scenario we've had in the past that went wrong, and I'm going to take you through with me. It orients us, and it orients them to keep stirring up past traumas. It orients us and it orients our team to stir up past traumas. Because why? Because it's what we're asking for. Ask and you shall receive. We are asking for that. Whenever we ask, why is this happening to me? The first direction we can go to is, what are my subconscious intentions? What am I intending to happen through my words? Or what am I intending to happen because my brain keeps pulling it up? Our guides want to support you no matter what. If your intention is to pull up the past, they will help you do that because they want to support. So, what can that do? And I'm going to do exactly what I described to you earlier. We're going to go to this to the depths of what this would do if we keep going down this train. And then we're going to flip it on its head and look at the opposite. We're going to do exactly what I suggested a moment ago. What can this do? If we keep going down the train of pulling up the past and the things that went wrong, we can accidentally, not intentionally, retrain the brain to focus on it. Retrain the brain to find things in the past that are negative. Continue down that line of focusing. We can start holding these emotions of things that we've went through in the past in the body again because we're actively looking for it. And then we can train our team to look for those moments to bring them up. Okay? Bear with me. I'm going to describe the opposite of this. But I'm just taking you through this line of thought to get an understanding of how powerful our intentions are. With that being said, we stir up all of this energy and then wonder why we feel stuck in a loop. Why it feels like we can't move forward. Why it feels like all the work we're doing energetically is not effective. It's because we're directing mentally, physically, energetically towards the past. The best way to tell your future is to create it. The best way to tell your future is to create it. What are we creating when we spark this loop over and over and over again? What does the opposite of this look like? Going to your team, saying, this is what I want to create. This is what I would like my life to look like. I feel what I've been through. I know what I don't want. This is what we're aiming for. I want to create this on a daily basis. What can I do now? What can I do tomorrow? If your big goal, let's say, right, your big goal is writing a book. Doesn't have to be, this is just an example though. Writing a book is your primary goal that you want to work towards. An avenue to go down is I need to release every single past trauma to be able to write this book. A future focused solution with your team is what can I do tomorrow to work on this path? Writing for 1 hour a day, per se. If I write for 1 hour a day, I'm going to start moving towards this big goal of writing a book. Right? We're bringing practicality into spirituality. So then what comes up? And you go, okay, well, that's simple. That's like simple and obvious and duh. But how do we use our team through this? How we use our team through this is when things do come up. When things do come up, I accidentally repeated a cycle on purpose. Great. My whole point for this is to lay things out so we can make a change. If there's not awareness, and I know how you're coming about this, but if there's not awareness behind it, we can't change it. And that's just what it is. If we're not aware of the cycle of our pattern of what we're doing, we can't change it. With that, when we set a path towards the future, what we want, writing a book, an hour a day is our goal. How can we use our energetic team with that? We sit down to start writing, and our brain completely loses focus. We've all experienced this. We completely lose focus, or our body feels extremely heavy when we're trying to do it, and it feels like we're trudging through 3 feet of snow to make any progress. That's where your team comes in. In the moment, processing. In the moment, processing. That's why, for Rosalie, as an example, what's the downsides per se? Is we've been repeating a cycle without being aware of it. I'm guilty of that myself. Almost all of us are. What's the positive of this? It doesn't take as long to fix it as you think when we start focusing on the future, because we create now, tomorrow. This is what I want to start creating. This is the action I can take. Now, tomorrow, today, you can go, okay, team, when I start to do this action, my body feels heavy and I lose track of my thoughts. Now we have something to orient them to. We have something to orient them to. Instead of going to our guides and going, what should I do? Which is so broad and hard to get responses from because they don't even know what we're referring to half the time. Instead of using all that energy towards trying to search out here, we go in and we say, as I'm creating, I feel heavy in the body. As I'm creating, it's hard for me to focus. This is the goal that I want. And they go, okay, how do you want to feel in the body? We can identify what we don't. I don't want to feel heavy and sluggish while I'm trying to work on this project. I do want to feel light and energetic through this. Can you help me do this in the moment? You can say this in your head. I'm being so practical and literal right now because I want this to get through. You can say this in your head. You can say this out loud. I'm looking for my energetic team, my team from my heart, to help me change this heaviness in the body to one of lightness as I'm working on writing today. For my energetic team that's there for my truest intention, I'm looking for them to, in this next 15 minutes, to start practicing it, to help me focus on writing this book and to keep my thoughts oriented towards my topic at hand. Can you help me do that? You may feel a response in the moment. You may not. Both are okay. Because what you're going to do is you're going to do the task however you feel. And afterward, notice the results. Did you start to feel a little more lighter and a little focused? If the answer is yes, great. We're going to do this again tomorrow. Team, I want to feel lighter in the body and I want to be able to focus when I'm sitting down. Did we get a response? Maybe, maybe not. What are the results? I did feel a little bit lighter and I was able to focus slightly more. Great. Day after, day 3. Team, I'm looking to release this heaviness. We can get a little deeper. This is what it feels like. I would identify it as the color red, and I would identify it as squares in the body. Some of them are towards my chest area. Some of them are in my shoulders, and it's a heaviness in my head when I sit down to work. Okay, here's like a level 2 to this. I would like to remove this and give it to you. Can you please help me change it into light, peace, stillness, so I can focus on this project at hand? Your brain and body is identifying what it is. Then you're bringing the energetics of having your team support you to change it. We're going way more in depth than we have before for those of you joining that may have been on with us for a while now, because it's important. Your brain identifies, your body feels. The energetics in your team helps you to change it. Spirituality has been surface level for a long time. We need to get in depth on what is actually going on to make a real, lasting change. And if you've been someone who's been frustrated because you've been trying to connect to them for a while and it's been either inconsistent or you haven't seen any results from it that you're looking for, it's because we need the mechanics there. It's not being worthy enough. It's not wishing enough. It's using what you have, your body, your mind, your energetics, to actually work with them in a more effective way as we're describing here. It's not guessing. And here's the part 2 to that for those who are like, well, I've done so much work over the years, and why hasn't that helped? Was that all for nothing? Absolutely not. It was for something. It was to prepare you for this next step of clarity. That's not only available to you through the mechanics, but also through how the earth is shifting now. It was worth it to realize how much heaviness you can store in the body, because the more heaviness you can store in the body, on the other side of that, the more light you can contain in your vessel. It's just how it works. For those who have been through a lot of heaviness and dense situations in your life, you are going to be the most capable to hold so much light in your system and to help yourself and others do that. It's just about, once again, the mechanics. You're already worthy. Nobody has to be on the top of some pyramid and come down and boop you on the head and say, now you're worthy to go. You're worthy now. My sister and I did not have anyone come down from the top of a pyramid and boop us on the head and say, these are the mechanics and you are worthy to channel or do spiritual artwork as I do. We developed it over years. It doesn't have to take that long for you. That's why we're doing this, to speed up the process for others. But it's just about learning the tools. It's like someone teaching you how to play a piano, right? You're not worthy or unworthy of playing the piano. You're not worthy or unworthy of playing the piano. It's about learning the skills to be able to do so when, frankly, not a lot of people right now know how to play the piano. And they're saying, if you're worthy enough, if you're good enough, if you do these 3 steps, you'll be able to sit down and play the piano. And you're like, I've done the 3 steps. I've stretched beforehand. I've listened to these tones before I got to the piano. And I've done breath work before I sat down. But when I sit down at the piano, I still can't play the piano. Why? And what we're saying is it's deeper than that. And the basic skills are setting your intentions for what you want. Setting your intentions. Mentally working on where am I going and what do I want to create. Feeling in the body. How does it feel? In releasing what doesn't serve you while bringing in what is helpful while using your team to do so. And then being future focused, not waiting for your future to come to you, but actively deciding what you're excited about and working with your team to take steps towards that in its creation. Your team is an energetic element of you that needs to be trained. It's also uncommon knowledge. We assume because our team is so loving, knowing, aware, that they'll be able to do things for us. But in fact, it's quite the opposite. Because they are so loving and respecting of you, because they care so highly of you, because they want you to maintain your own free will, they will look for what you want to create and follow that lead. They will look for what you want to develop and support you in that. But when they overstep and say, I am doing this for you, move out of the way, that is not supporting your free will. And that's why we have to decide on a direction and move towards it. Thank you so much, Sharon. I did a lot of talking. With that, I have one more topic to come forward, which is how to create a new base internally. But does anyone on today have questions about what came forward? About energetic mechanics, about how to work with your guides? And I'll dive into that. If so, I'll give a moment here for that. And if not, I'm going to go into setting a base for yourself with your team. So thank you all for joining on TikTok today. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Sharon. Thank you all for joining on YouTube. While I'm waiting for any questions that you may have, we are now posting on YouTube. We have our first 2 full lives up. One with Isabel and I, and one that is just myself here, where we'll be explaining energetic mechanics and doing live demonstrations of it as my sister Isabel channels in. Okay, and so with that today, Feel free to still add in any questions if you have them. I'm going to go into our last topic here for today, which is creating a new base. Thank you. Creating a new base within the self and how we can work with our team to do that. So, again, our topic today is the best way to tell your future is to create it. With that, when we move into a new situation, into a new job, into a new level of awareness, it is scary, right? Our body starts to react. Our anxiety goes up a little bit. Maybe it's very difficult for us to take a step forward in that moment. How can our team support us in moving forward? And there's a couple of ways. One of them is reminding us that we have support, that we are surrounded, that strength, childlike excitement, that focus that they have is all something that's accessible to us and that we can call them in for support as we take a next step forward. The next is creating a new base within the self. And if you work with us long term, this is something we help you directly develop. A new space internally in the heart where you can feel your truth, where you can always return back to. And I have a tattoo here that says live centered because it's being centered in the heart space. How do we recenter ourselves in our own heart when things get chaotic, when we start moving in a direction and we get scared because our body always looks to go to its homeostasis, to go to its place of comfort and to never leave that zone. But where is true growth when we start taking incremental steps outside of that? When we work with a team though, those incremental steps can actually stick. And that's the difference here. Is we can take that step, and instead of taking 2 steps and the ground falls back and we go back to square one, we take another 2 steps, the ground falls out, we go back to square one. We take 2 steps, the ground falls out, we go back to square one. Everyone knows that loop. When we work with that team, they help us to take 2 steps and then land there. 2 steps and go, okay, I have support here. Okay, I know how to get back to my center. Okay, we can actually hold this. Say you go back, even with that space, you still have an anchor point of what it felt like in that new zone, and you know how to get back there faster. Now we can take the next 2 steps. Now we're 4 ahead and go, okay, I know how to work with my team. I can bring them in to feel supported. I can hold this new base. Okay, it's a little scary. Maybe I take a step back, but we still know we're supported and we have a way to process information so we can move right back to where we were. We take another 3 steps. Okay, I did it. I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating my victories. I'm acknowledging my team as they're supporting. I'm seeing signs, synchronicities, feelings from them. Dreams are starting to come up. Things are beginning to fall into place. Gets a little scary. We take 1 step back. And we go, nope, I understand this pattern. I can keep moving. You take another 3 forward. This is the pattern that I'm getting at. Instead of 2 forward, 2 back, 2 forward, 2 back, life is always going to be a wave, right? But instead of doing this, we're doing this, right? We're now starting to understand and move up and be able to work with our team to hold a new base. Life will always have setbacks. That's the nature of it. But when working with your team, you know a way back to your center. You know a way back to progress. You know a way back to being future focused and creating your life rather than going to psychics asking what will happen. That's my ending point for today. Create your tomorrow. I'm not talking about a year from now. Go down on paper tonight. What did I dislike from my day? Label it. Let's shrink what I was talking about earlier of big concepts. Let's make it smaller. What did I dislike from my day? Write that all out. Tear the paper up, shred it, release it. What elements, even if it was moments, did I like from today? Let's write those out. And ask your team to work with you to create more of those for tomorrow. Be intentional, invite the team in, and let's create actual lasting progress. With that being said, if you're looking to work with us directly, this is why we've been focusing on this for all these years, to help others get to this process a lot faster and more effectively. Within our first session, we call it a jumpstart session because we really jumpstart your space into an understanding. Isabel and I help to bring forward all the guides around you, get names and a label of how they can support. And then we actually bring them forward, session 1, to have a conversation with you. Isabel brings in the manager of your space, the manager of your energetic team, to talk with you directly and understand how you can move forward in your life where you may feel stuck, and how you can start to connect with your team specifically. Your team is very unique to you. Your path is very unique to you. Let's find you the answers that actually work. If you want long-term work with us, we help you develop this core, this heart space, this way of processing that allows you to move forward. And that's where we make the lasting changes and effects to train your energetic team on what you are looking for instead of waiting and guessing. So comment the word, if you're on TikTok, comment the word jumpstart, or not comment, I'm sorry, DM us. I always say the wrong thing. DM us and message us the word jumpstart right after we get off, and we'll get on with you to set up that first initial session. And from there, we'll look into further work if you're interested. If you're on YouTube, feel free to send us an email, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you all so much for joining and being present today. We love you. We thank you for being here. And I know this path may seem lonely. Trust in your heart. Trust in the truth that's coming forward for you. And know that your guides and spirit are your ride or dies. They're there for you no matter what. So be intentional on what you want to create with them. Don't be scared of taking the wrong intention, but feel and take the time to feel into what you want to create, because you have a whole team backing you in doing so. Thank you for joining. We'll be back tomorrow. We're on live Monday through Friday, and we're now posting our live